Let's talk about the rappers for a minute. Can we talk about the rappers for a moment? Let's talk about Tupac Shakur for a moment. Tupac Shakur is a child of the 60s. Tupac Shakur, born out of the spirit of the revolution of the 60s. Tupac Shakur, fire in his bones, huh? Boldness and rebellion in his blood. Born from his beautiful, bold Black Panther mama, Afeni. Sitting in the jail cell, a revolutionary woman carrying the fruit of life, marking the child in her womb, marking the child with rebellion, marking the child with insurrection, marking the child with a spirit to not go along with what's been going on.
I'm about to start another movie, Menace to Society, with New Line and the Hughes brothers, the brothers that do all my videos.
Now when this belly's getting bigger,
We just working, staying busy. I beat up the directors to Menace to Society.
Menace to Society.
They fired me, but did it in a roundabout punk snitch way. So I caught them on the streets and beat they behind.
So then you're working with, you know, Digital Underground and that crew of people. And anyone who doesn't know who Digital Underground is, please Google it. But there was a specific dude that was hanging around carrying some crates for Digital Underground back then. His name is Tupac, I think. Tupac? No, I'm sorry. Tupac, obviously.
Yeah. Well, he helped us and we helped him. It was weird. It was like, my brother tells the story much better than I do. But we were up there and, you know, Money B is the rapper in Raw Fusion. And he had this DJ named Dave, a white guy. And our first day up there was, they wanted to go to a Waffle House. So we go to this Waffle House and, you know, some of the guys from Digital Underground are there. And there's Tupac. Tupac is not known at the time. He has juice in the can, but it hasn't come out, right? He has a record deal with Interscope, but it hasn't come out. We just know that this guy's hilarious because he's just cracking on everybody at the table playing the dozens, like just destroying people with his mouth, you know. And you know from Hit 'Em Up and records like that, he's a master shit talker, right? Oof. And my brother's like, who is this dude? And we're just laughing at him, and then my brother tells the group, like, we're shooting tomorrow, have him come. Because we want to put him in the intro of the video. And if you look at the video now, it's on YouTube, it's called Raw Fusion is the group. The track is called Throw Your Hands in the Air. The group come down the staircase, the duo, and Tupac is sitting next to, what's his name, Shock G, right? And so he was in the video, and he's magnetic. You can see already that he's a star, right? So we're on a break in the video, and he says, "Hey, Hughes Brothers," because that's what everybody called us. You know, Hughes Brothers, come over here. He's hanging out the front of this car, and he said, "Listen to this track." And he starts playing this track. He goes, "That's on my album. It's coming out on Interscope in a few months, and I would like y'all to do the music video." And we're like, you know, we're in our first music video, and this guy's telling us he's gonna give us a music video. We didn't believe him. We're like, yeah, okay, cool, whatever, right? 3 weeks later, sure enough, we're doing his first music video. And we do his following music video, and we do a third music video for him. And at the time, we did his first music video. Yeah, the first music video. We were all staying in a hotel in West Hollywood, and I may get this wrong because my brother disagrees with me. I remember me and my brother got invited to a early screening of Juice on the Paramount lot. Right. And we invited Tupac to come with us. Right? So we take him to see his own movie that he hasn't seen yet. And we watched this movie and we're like, oh my God, this guy's incredible. Like his acting, the way the camera loves him. And we'd already figured out some of that stuff, right? We take him back to the hotel. He goes into this jealous rage about some other famous girl he was messing with. And he found out some other famous guy was messing with her. And he calls us down to his room, and we go down to his room. And it was the first time that we've seen he shaved his hair in a drunken rage because he had stress marks, you know, plops of hair missing. And that was also the first time we saw his dark side, you know, the jealousy, you know, the rage. the pettiness kind of stuff. But what happened after he saw Juice was he transformed into that character up on the screen. And we slowly started to see that happening over the course of our working relationship with him, right?
But he wasn't.
But we always knew.
But he was. I don't mean to interrupt you. But before he saw that image of himself, he was not. He was just a smart.
It was more along the lines of like a Chuck D or KRS-One, a very conscious rapper. And even if you see his early Digital Underground stuff, it was all Afrocentric, right?
Mm-hmm.
Black Panther background, very well read, very intelligent, right?
Mm-hmm.
He can string together like words you know you would have to look up in a thesaurus, basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what he did with the thug life stuff that most people don't know is that he created a persona, and he dummied himself down just to go into the kind of gangster. I remember he was just as fascinated with Eazy-E as me and my brother were in NWA, who we were very close to Eazy at the time. He knew us before we made it, and he took us under his arm for like 3 months during the summer of 91. And he knew we had a relationship with Eazy, and he wanted Eazy to be in his first music video, and Eazy kind of bullshitted us, didn't show up. But you could tell the early seeds of like he was fascinated more by gangster rap. You know, he was fascinated by the conscious stuff, but he was really drawn to the gang. And the trigger was Juice. He just saw that character, and he goes, "I got it." You know, He didn't say that to us. That's just our theory. You know?
How did Menace to Society even come about?
Well, it was interesting. It was like my brother and I had an idea at 15 that we wanted to do this kind of hood story, but our perspective is we wanted to, have it be told from the point of view of this kid that just got corrupted by, nature versus nurture. And he got corrupted by both, basically, right? At the time that we got to the age where we're about to start doing music videos, we were at a production company that we were signed to called Underdog Film, which was a black-owned film company in LA. And they were doing a music video for the Boys in the Hood soundtrack. We had saw the Boys in the Hood trailer, and we're like, uh-oh, it's over. Somebody already beat us to it, right? Mm-hmm. We were in the production company at the time. They'd insert the clips into the music videos from the movie back then, and they had 2 3/4-inch tapes. The movie was split in two, and this closet room with a TV and a playback thing. And we decided after work one day, let's just go watch this thing to see before we give up on our dream, So we watch it, and halfway through we're just looking at each other going, this is really spoon-fed, this is it's weak, compared to what we want to do, like stylistically and thematically, it's not as potent as what we want to do. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, we had saw James Olmos' American Me, which blew our minds.
Yes.
And that actually made Menace to Society a harder movie, because we saw that and we're like, oh shit, we gotta at least be where that movie is. So my brother took the lead in developing the script while we were 18 doing these music videos. And he would show me like 10 pages or 20 pages, from our friend Tiger Williams. And at the time it was called Rampage, right? The script was called Rampage.
Nice.
And there was no liquor store opening. There was no videotape that was going throughout the movie. And at the time I started experimenting with marijuana. We were late to marijuana, like we were 18 or 19. And again, I was really introverted, shy, and socially awkward. So I started reading the script as more and more pages came in, and then I spoke one night, went to my room, and I came back to my brother and Tiger and said, we need to have an opening scene that knocks people's socks off. Like, they need to know when they see this opening scene, the rest of the movie, this is what you're in for, basically, right? And so I pitched them the opening scene, not knowing that would be a through line throughout the script, because that was the last thing we added, before the script was complete. Now, once we completed the script, we had 2 line producer friends from music videos. One guy was Ruben Mendoza. The other guy was Darren, who ended up being the producer. I forget his last name now. Darren Scott, who produced one of our Tupac videos. Okay. So we my brother hands them both the script and says, whoever can get it set up, you could be the producer, naively thinking that that's how producing works. It doesn't. We get an agent, who then moves to CAA. We still haven't done anything yet except for a few music videos. And, she says, New Line read your script, but they don't want to do that. I want you to go in and meet with them. They want to talk to you about Last Dragon Part 2. So on the way over to New Line, on our first meeting with an executive, my brother pulls up the car to a parking meter and he says, listen, fuck that. We're not doing Last Dragon Part 2. We're going to go out there and repitch Menace. So we go into the office and do just that. Not knowing that an East Coast exec had read the script and loved it, which put pressure on the West Coast exec, right? And Bob Shea, who was the owner and founder of New Line, found out about the script. People were excited about it, and the wheels were starting to roll. Mm-hmm. And he wanted to put the script on Weekend Read. And I think it was a Thursday or Friday. We got a call that Bob Shea and everybody's going to read it this weekend, but he hears you guys did an episode of America's Most Wanted, and he saw all your music videos, but he wants to see that episode of America's Most Wanted. And we're like, fuck, our career is already over because we did this episode, and it was horribly acted. Some janky direction. And it was something that me and my friends, we would all just clown and we'd say lines from it. Like it was, we spoofed it. It was so bad, right?
Right.
We would just clown it daily and we buried it deep inside our conscious, whatever. Now Bob Shea wants to see this. Like we're at the kind of apex of us maybe making it in this business. Like it's over. Mm-hmm. So come Monday, we said, read it and he cried. And he wants to make the movie. He obviously already saw America's Most Wanted, so we got over that hump, and that's how it started.
That's awesome. And then I know from my research, I found out that you guys were going to have Tupac in it at one point, right? And then it kind of
he was actually cast in it.
And then it kind of fell apart.
Yeah, he was disruptive in casting. Rehearsal, and my brother had a few confrontations over it, and this is before, the thing about Tupac, to be fair, is that he was never threatening when he was by himself. He was $150. We were about 200 at the time, right? Mm-hmm. And, contrary to popular, opinion of what happened between us, he buried a hatchet with us, shortly before he died. But there was never a beat down by him or nothing like that. There was 15 guys, Right. But my brother was ballsy with him. My brother stood up to him and at a certain point when he confronted him, he said, it looks like you want to knuckle up. And my brother always gets this smile on his face when he knows something's about to go down. And my brother has also confronted each and every one of our bullies in childhood at one point or another. He just stands up to him. So let's go. Right. So he saw some bullying going down, and he just like, oh, you're trying to knuckle up. And my brother stood up. And Tupac's like, nah, call my manager. So my brother called his manager and said, I don't know what to do. He's being very disruptive. We think part of the reason he was disruptive is because he wasn't in a starring role at the time, and he'd just come off with Juice, and he was doing he finished John Singleton's Poetic Justice. And he just wasn't happy with the role that he accepted that he was supposed to do, which was the Muslim role, which was a very small role, mm-hmm. right? Bob Shea and New Line had told us that, we need platinum rappers in the movie. Tupac wasn't necessarily a platinum rapper at the time, but we had Too Short and other people in the movie. So we were scared of losing the movie if we had a problem with Tupac in one way. But my brother knew that it was like a situation that couldn't be resolved because he was so disruptive, partially because he didn't know his lines, partially because he wanted all the attention on himself, which a true star, that's how they are. And he's a true star. I can't deny that. So my brother had to go tell Bob Shea at Glenn Ross premiere.
Wow.
He goes to this premiere. Bob, we got a problem. And he tells him, and Bob says, fire him. And my brother's like, really? Will you allow us to do that? He said, yeah. My brother called up the manager. Yo, it's over. We got a movie to make. We can't be fucking around with this shit, right? It broke on MTV News, and it just became this wild story. But it wasn't anything we would have done differently. The way my brother handled it, because again he was more the producer social type back mm-hmm. then. Mm-hmm. He couldn't have handled it better. The way Tupac responded to it was not a good thing. And we to this day, if we make a project and we see something disruptive, it's one thing I always tell young filmmakers, like, don't let the cancer grow. Whether mm-hmm. it's a crew member, whether it's a cast member,
amen.
Whether it's you, if you let that cancer grow, it will fester and You know,
Infect.
it will permeate everything. It will infect everything. Kill it in the crib.